Today's Leading Women, episode 568, with the wonderful MAURA Sweeney.
Women all over the world, get ready for inspiring and empowering interviews from women at the top of their field who are kicking butt in their business and who are prepared to share shocking revelations from being in the limelight. You are now listening to Today's Leading Women with Marie Grace Berg.
Podcast your passion. Yes, did you know you can podcast your passion, make a difference, and make money talking about what you love talking about? That's how I get to do what I'm doing, talking to wonderful women every day here at Today's Leading Women. Want to learn how I do it? Go to podcastyourpassion.com. That's www.podcastyourpassion.com. Yes, women of the world, let's get started. I am delighted to introduce you our amazing guest for today, MAURA Sweeney. Whether you are a college student considering the future, a millennial looking for a career with meaning, or midlifer, love that word, needing a new paradigm for success, MAURA Sweeney has something valuable for you. This natural coach and advocate known as MAURA for You is an author, fellow podcaster, international speaker, and Huffington Post contributor. She inspires others with her Living Happy Inside Out mantra and was recently named Ambassador of Happiness by the UNESCO Center for Peace. A graduate of Boston College, has traveled to over 50 countries. MAURA shares an eclectic blend of timeless inspiration that empowers people of all backgrounds to discover their own happiness and success in both life and career. In addition to public speaking, MAURA has been featured in several media outlets, including Match.com, Midlife Boulevard, Tampa Bay Times, and Britain's BBC Radio. To learn more, visit www.mauraforyou.com. Again, that's www.mauraforyou.com. Women of the world, Miss MAURA Sweeney. Welcome to the show.
Marie Grace, thank you so much for having. I'm so excited to be here.
I am delighted as well to have you in the show, and I'm sure our listeners too. So, MAURA, I really love what you're doing with your business, especially with MAURA for You. I love the name as well. You are a success in your own right. You put in the effort, the sweat equity, the knowledge and experience to build a special business you call your own. As a result of that, our listeners really want to get to know you, and I want to provide that conduit, that bridge between you and our listeners. So here are some cool questions that we can talk about. Feel free to comment anytime about that, but these are just general questions I have in mind. So let's start with your business. There might be people out there who want to start one and have no clue how to go about it. Can you tell us more about your business and the idea behind that niche?
I would be thrilled to. In fact, you made a great comment. People that are considering their business, what do? I would always say, if you're looking to be an entrepreneur in business and have your own, do what's important to you and follow what's important to you and your heart. And really, that's at the heart and soul, literally, of what I do as MAURA for You. I use my name, MAURA, and then the moniker for you at the end is because I'm always for you, whether you're my reader, my listener, the person on the other side of my microphone. What I do, Marie Grace, is I inspire people to live their best, happiest, and most authentic life from the inside out. And that means everything from your personal life, your relationships, your hobbies, and even your business pursuits, so that when you're true to yourself on the inside, you become really a self-actualized person. You're happy, you're at ease. You don't need to compare yourself with everyone else in the world because you're too busy pursuing those things that you love and things that are personally important to you. So I would best define myself and the work I do as someone who does what she loves, inspiring people to do what they love doing too.
You love your story. I love that you shared that one with us. Nothing is so inspiring than doing what you love and inspiring others to do what they love doing. Absolutely. Love that you shared that one with us. Inspiring people to live their best from the inside out. Inspiring them to do what they love because you do what you love doing as well. But what continues to inspire you doing this business?
Here's the funny thing. I think my business, which didn't start till midlife, happened purely accidentally. All of my life, I could look at people. They could be 8 years old. They can be 80. They can be from any background. And I see people through the eyes of the stars. I can look at people and I'll ask them what they're interested in. I get their life stories. I find out what their hobbies are. And I can see them truly like the stars, each and every one of them are. So all of my life, whether it was as in my corporate career as a manager, I would find talent in people. I would develop people. I'd promote people. I loved doing that. And I loved seeing the stars in others. I loved helping my husband out, pursuing his business. At one point, I was a homeschooling mom. I saw my daughter's talents and I encouraged her. But the accidental part for me was this. I was so accustomed to being the person sort of on the sidelines, inspiring other people to go out and be a star, that I personally was rather uncomfortable standing in the limelight myself. And when I say all this happened accidentally, my husband, we've been together since we were 19 in college. He said to me one day, Maura, you ask so many reflective questions, and I know you so well. He said, instead of just talking about them or telling me what's on your mind, he said, I'm going to put you on video. And you're going to talk to the video camera as if you're talking to people out there that need to hear your reflective questions on life. I'm going to load it up and call it Maura for You. And he said, on the one hand, too, Maura for You means a little lesser for me. But he said, you have thoughts and inspiration that need to be heard. And the strange thing for me, Marie, was that when he said he was going to put me on the camera and I'm the only one that was there, it was unnerving for me because I was more comfortable encouraging others to go and be their best. But I realized over time, because I used to get frustrated with people who couldn't see their own greatness, that at some point I was going to have to be synonymous with my own words and my own message and put myself in the center, put myself as the person who was in the video, the individual who was signing her name to her own blogs, the person behind the microphone who, rather than speaking for a corporation or for an organization, was speaking for herself and her own thoughts. So that was that part of it was something, but the inspiration totally behind it goes all the way back to my childhood. I was always a dreamer. I always believed in a happy and inclusive, just wonder-filled world where people just could become all they wanted to be. And so what I'm doing today really is living out all the things that are important to me and make me happy and inspiring others to go and do the same thing. So I'm taking little childhood ideas and turning them into reality.
Yes, and you are really embodying that message that you have. I can feel it in your voice. I can, with your words as well. You're really embodying the message that you have. Wanting to develop the stars in others, putting others in the limelight. At the same time, accepting that to ourselves, because sometimes we are the worst critic. We don't want to shine the light on us. We just want others, but at the same time, we have to credit that one to ourselves, because what other people see is when they see us reflecting that, for example, the happy smile or the happy life that you have, that inspires other people, and that makes them aspire to achieve what that one is that they see in you.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It gives other people not only inspiration, it gives them a sense of freedom. Like, that person's being all that they want to be. I can be that person too, but I could be it in my own right and in my own way. So yes, you're right when I say I do embody my own message. And it's so funny because I could walk into just different places and people will say, Maura for you, I'm happy and you're happy too. And it's just very cute and it makes me laugh.
I am smiling ear to ear here too. I feel that positivity. I feel that happiness just by talking to you. It's really so contagious. So thanks for putting that positive energy and vibes, not only for me, but for our listeners as well. Okay, let's talk about how you prepared for success that turned this idea or that turned this inspiration into a reality. Can you share our listeners What are some of your personality traits or your top 3 personal qualities that help you become a successful entrepreneur that our listeners can learn from?
Oh, well, good. I think that I probably touched on 2 of them, belief and hope. When I was a little girl, I really did believe in a better, happier, more inclusive world where, in a sense, dreams that we have in our hearts can come true. So that's something that I've always carried in life, in the good times as well as the very challenging ones. Hope would be another one that sort of works in tandem with it, because I always hope for the best. And even if something has not been going my way, hope is one of those things that always helps us to see the future rather than resting at a moment in time that is not pleasing to us. And then the last quality I'd say that I have is a stubborn resiliency. I believe and I hope so much that even when I fall, even when I'm, let's say, failing in certain ways or not doing everything maybe I hope that I can do or learn, I am very resilient and I'm very stubbornly holding on to what my beliefs are. So it just keeps me moving forward.
So that's belief, hope, stubborn, resiliency. I love those 2 words put in together. Really sums it up. And the good thing is that with these qualities or these traits that Maura just shared with us, we can all cultivate and adapt them into our lives. Having that belief, having that hope, having that stubborn resiliency, especially as we build our business, really important to have that resiliency. All right, let's talk about what happened when you started your journey as an entrepreneur. As entrepreneurs, we face daily challenges that define our being. And to get to those challenges, it takes a very special person. And our audience wants to know that special person in you. So what have been your biggest challenges building your business? And how have you addressed or overcame those barriers to success that a lot of women entrepreneurs face today?
Well, I think the first one I probably already touched on, and that was the whole idea of being seen. Because in order to do and be an influencer as I have become, I needed to be counted and I needed to be seen with my face, with my name, with my voice. And the way I overcame that, quite simply, was just I kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And I think sometimes the way that we can overcome mental issues or mental blocks is that we just repattern ourselves over and over and over again until the old way of thinking or the old patterns go away. And the other 2 things, a challenge was learning lots about the digital space, putting together websites, learning all the different platforms, learning how to create my own little specialized YouTube videos, learning how to do podcasts. It was all these technical things that at the beginning, they were so overwhelming. And I always wanted to think, oh my gosh, this is just too hard. But what I realized, like the previous thing, is I would just continue doing and doing one step at a time. And now when I see something new, I don't put myself in that mind space of saying, oh, can't do that. I just know that I will acquire the skills eventually to get better and to master certain things. And the last thing is kind of funny, administration. I travel a lot. I have a couple of different email addresses, and I have different calendars, and I am not that great on administration. And I wish I had somebody full-time that helped me. I don't. So how do I get over that one? Just like I do everything else, I try daily just to use new skills and hopefully improve myself a little bit, a little bit at a time.
Wow, I certainly can relate to these challenges that you shared with us. I mean, overcoming the fear of putting yourself out there, being seen, being put in the spotlight, being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Oh, I have those moments too, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners can relate to this. Learning about the digital space, technology. I mean, so much to learn, and technology is changing so rapidly, and we have to keep abreast of that change as well, especially for our business. Dealing with the admin stuff, huge as well. I mean, I love the creative part of being an entrepreneur, but the admin stuff, if I could just delegate all of it, I'll do it too. But the good thing is that when we're sharing these challenges and how we're able to overcome them, we learn from each other. So for our listeners out there, when this challenges happens to you, you now know what to do, because Maura has just shared with us how she was able to overcome them. All right, let's just switch gears for a little bit and talk about work-life balance. Being a business owner myself, maintaining a work-life balance is so crucial to overall success in life. Now, the challenge with entrepreneurs is how to click on and click off and create a work-life balance, particularly if you have a family juggling many roles. So in your life as an entrepreneur, how do you maintain this work-life balance, and what are some of the ways that you accomplish this in the areas of your health, your family, your relationships, and your business?
Great question, Marie. Well, you know what? I will tell you, it's been evolutionary for me. My background, you might have referenced, I was in a corporate position in management, and I felt like so much of my job was all that I was. And I'd sometimes be exhausted when I got home and would use the weekends just to basically catch my breath. But for me these days, work is fun and fun is work, because this is a lifestyle career that I've created at a different time in my life. And I use everything I learned from the past, but I incorporate everything I love. And when I say it's a lifestyle career where I work things together, I am always out meeting new people, socializing with new people, networking with new people, learning new things, which help me with work, but they also help me meet interesting people that I often will interview for some of my podcasts or some of my blogs. So I'm socializing. I love to travel, and that's something I incorporate in with work. So traveling for me is fun. It's expansive. It's exciting. Exercise, and this is something I used to do in my corporate career, but I make sure as much as I can I do it now. There is something so great about exercise because it gets us out of the mental space we're often in. It helps us to breathe the fresh air. It gets our adrenaline flowing. And for me, I just feel so in tune with myself. And it really sort of, I want to say it sort of gets rid of the cobwebs. And the last thing I would say, since I do have a wonderful, loving husband, the two of us oftentimes will travel together. We love cooking together. And then this may seem like such a simple thing, but at night we turn off all the computers because he too is an entrepreneur. We have two couches in our family room, and we will put on Netflix and usually watch a series that maybe we've never seen before that really engages us. We love mysteries. We love trying to figure things out, like crime dramas. And that's our time to enjoy one another's quiet company, with a glass of wine. And it's just a great way to wind down before closing out the day.
I love those tips that you shared with us, especially with the fact that you really stress about incorporating exercise routine in your day, turning off computers at home, and having that time, that cozy time with your husband, with your family. I think little things that we can do outside of just working and working is really important. Whatever that one is that you can incorporate in your life, because it's really different. I mean, we have different priorities and stages in our business and in our lives, but it's really important to incorporate those activities that it's not just business, but your family, your social life, going out and network and meeting other interesting people, traveling, not just for fun, but for meeting people as well, for meeting and for a different perspective, for a different atmosphere. It's really beneficial to do those as well, not just being stuck. I know we have a lot of things that we want to do, but at the same time, it's really important to have that time away from what we are doing, away from our business. Really important. Love those tips. Let's take action on them in terms of this work-life balance. All right, I'd love to talk about success and what success means to you. So in your journey as an entrepreneur, can you share with us what success means to you, and what are some of the benchmarks that you use to measure your success?
Well, I love this question, Marie Grace, because a lot of people in our world, especially in the United States, tend to measure success by money or by this sense of I'm more important than you. I, in my case, measure success by what I would call almost self-emergence, meaning who are you? Who are you really? And are you coming out in full bloom so that you can enjoy your life and others can appreciate your personal gifts? So that would be my definition of success. And then in terms of what some of my benchmarks have been, I already mentioned when I walk into various places and people will say, "More for you, living happy inside out." And it's very cute. Now they're calling me Ambassador of Happiness. That was the UNESCO title that I was just given a few weeks ago when I spoke at the Nelson Mandela Day celebration and at another event. That was really neat because that position, who ever heard of such a thing? You could hear of ambassadors to different countries, but imagine an ambassador of happiness. That title was given to me because I truly do exude and live out that title. And I use that even as a means lately now in the past few weeks of reminding people that as you too emerge as yourself, you can just occupy your own space without having to compare yourself with anyone else. You don't have to decide if you're doing well or not doing well. You just keep doing what you love, and the world will make room for you, and they'll probably give you a name if you haven't given yourself one already. But a few other things I would like to mention. You heard that I have a Huffington Post blog. I only was writing about things that would make people feel happy and unified. And when I first started blogging, I thought, well, who really wants to hear this? This is something I find important. But most news articles are all about divorce, the 10 best things you could do, who put on too much weight. And when Huffington Post invited me and my blog on happiness, I thought that's a great remark. And my BBC interview was fun. And then speaking overseas, just a few months ago, I was invited to speak at 4 universities and an international business conference. I think they had people from 9 or 10 countries there. And here's the amazing thing. They all wanted my messaging and content, which talked about how you too, whoever that you may be, can cultivate your own interests, your own talents, your own passions that you had even while you were growing up, combine them with your skills, and work out a career and a life that works well for you and makes you happy.
Well, and congratulations, by the way, for being named as Ambassador of Happiness. You really exude, you really embody the message, and so inspiring, not only to me, but I'm sure to all of our listeners out there. So thank you. Now, I know you've given us a lot of tips already. You've given us a resource, your book as well, the Exiting the Comfort Zone. I'm going to have that on our show notes as well. But I'd love to ask you one last question about if there's one woman out there that you admire the most, who would that be and why?
She always comes to mind, Eleanor Roosevelt. Eleanor Roosevelt was nothing really to look at as an individual. She was not the prettiest woman, but Eleanor Roosevelt, being President Roosevelt's wife, who traveled the globe for a husband who wasn't able to walk, who during her era became the most influential woman, not only in America, but likely in the world, who had an enormous heart for including other people, for sharing in their plight and uplifting and empowering and giving attention to other, I want to say, issues and other people groups that she knew needed to be given attention. I look at her and I think she's just a beautiful woman. And if my lifetime can work in any small way to help inspire and others with my heart to become all that they want to be and to free them up, I can just look to Eleanor Roosevelt and think she's a very, very good example for her era. And I hope to be one for my own.
Yes, and she's such an inspiration, and I love the quotes that she has. One of my favorites that I read a lot, and I usually read as like my quotes for the day, for example, is when she said about no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. That one was powerful, and I really had an epiphany when I read it the first time, and it's been inspiring me every time. So absolutely, Eleanor Roosevelt is such an inspiration, not only to you, but to all of us here at Today's Leading Women. We salute her. Lastly, Maura, share our listeners what's one big benefit that they can get with your product or your service, where they can get it, and what's the best way that our listeners can connect with you, and then we'll end from there.
Well, thanks, Marie Grace. One of the great things about what I do is that the majority of everything I do is free. So everyone can visit me at my MAURA For You website. And that's the number 4, the letter U, where they can get access to my blogs, to my podcasts, to over 200 videos, and they can also get access to my Huffington Post site as well. But I do have a series of books, one of which I'd love to offer to any of your listeners who would be interested. It's part of my Art of Happiness series, and it's called Exiting the Comfort Zone, Dance or Die. And it really, it's a fun book. It's an exploratory book that invites every reader to look at their own comfort zones, the lines they built around their world, and said, I really want to go outside this line. These are things I've always had in my heart to do, but maybe they think that they don't have the money, they don't have the time, they don't have the body, they don't have the upbringing, whatever it may be. My story that I used in there as an example of exiting the comfort zone was of learning how to dance starting at age 50. And anyone who knows they had a childhood dream and lived such a long time apart from that dream, and then suddenly at a time in life they think, oh my gosh, it's too late. I should have been wearing my tutu at 5 years old, not at 50. When they follow my story and come with me on my journey of all the mental baggage I had to get rid of in order to really reconnect with what I loved as a child and to exit my own comfort zone, they too will be able to relate and feel inspired and empowered to exit their own and know that they've got the hope and all that they needed within them to get there. So all they have to do is just write to me, Maura, at mauraforyou.com, and they could just go to the website and they'll see a place to write and ask for Exiting the Comfort Zone, or just ask for the book and I'll know which one.
Okay, so that's www.mauraforyou.com. This the number 4 and letter U.com. I'll make sure to have this on our show notes. Or you can email Maura at mauraforyou.com. I'll have this on the show notes as well. So I highly encourage you, our listeners, to go there now, mauraforyou.com. Email Maura for your free book, for your free copy of Exiting the Comfort Zone. I'm doing this myself, so I highly encourage you to go there now and pick up that book as well by emailing Maura. I'm sure we can all learn from this so we can learn how to embody the happiness factor. And this is huge if we look at the positive way, positive things, and starts with being happy and learning how. And I'm sure we can learn from what Maura is teaching us there. So again, that link is www.mauraforyou, which is MAURA number 4 letter U.com, mauraforyou.com. Maura, thank you so much for being so generous in sharing your time, your inspiring story, your expertise, for being a role model to many, and for bringing such a positive energy with our listeners today. Women of the world, including me, appreciate you and wish you more success in business and in your life.
Thank you so much, and I wish the same to you and to every one of your listeners. Thank you so much, Marie Grace.
Thinking of starting a podcast? Seriously consider starting a podcast of your own, remembering that it will allow you to grow in ways you never imagined. It will grow your email list, your audience, your influence, and your bank account. Go to podcastprofitsystem.com to get started. That's www.podcastprofitsystem.com.
Feeling inspired and empowered to make it happen? Then take the next step and go get your free guide to the top 10 resources that today's leading women use to stay at the top of their game, plus Marie's favorite today. Visit todaysleadingwomen.com/guide for your free download, and we'll see you on the next episode of Today's Leading Women with Marie Grace Berg.